Hey guys, just made it back from Japan. What an amazing time. Me and David Chow crushed it over in Japan for the Japan Mobility Show. We had so much fun. Hopefully we were able to convey to you guys how much of a good time we actually had touring all the cars, having delicious food, and just seeing some of the coolest concepts out there in the world. So make sure to watch all that coverage. But we're back to reality. We're back into the United States, and this news just hits. Toyota supercharges. Interesting that they use supercharged because, well, in electrification era, there are no true superchargers feeding more air into a internal combustion engine. But just last week or 2 weeks ago, right before I went to Japan, Toyota finally got on the North American charging standard, the Tesla charging standard, which Tesla uses superchargers. So I think that's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek there. Toyota supercharges North Carolina battery plant with new $8 billion investment. This is massive. We'll be adding 3,000 new jobs. So that's great for that local area in North Carolina. So the total investment now is nearly $14 billion. Total job creation is more than 5,000. What is going to be going on here? Well, here's the nitty gritty. Here are the details that matter for batteries. Okay, so these batteries are going to be provided for battery electric vehicles like the BZ5X, the three-row crossover, like the BZ4X that will likely move production also to Kentucky. But check this out. We have now confirmation that plug-in hybrid vehicles, and I think we already knew this, but Toyota maybe hadn't officially announced it, but we have more production capacity for plug-in hybrid vehicles. Why is this important? Well, vehicles like the Lexus TX, the 550h Plus, that will see much more, I don't even know the right word, much more increased battery capacity, meaning much more volume. So the first year, to my understanding, of the TX 550h Plus plug-in hybrid with the V6 is only about 1,000 models, okay? Then the following years after 2025, it will massively increase. What other plug-in hybrids are made in North America? Actually, none. All right, the plug-in Prius Prime is made in Japan. The RAV4 Prime is made in Japan. The NX and RX plug-in hybrids made in Japan. But this changes everything. So we're no longer going to be crimped for plug-in hybrids from the Japanese factories. Okay, they just can't produce enough for the global market. We will have huge increase of plug-in hybrids for the North American market, and I'm still holding out for a Sienna plug-in hybrid, a minivan plug-in hybrid. Speaking of a plug-in hybrid minivan, I'm getting the Pacifica finally. I'm going to test that out, the Pacifica plug-in hybrid. In theory, that's like the perfect vehicle for the family. I just would, we'll see. But vehicles like that will start manifesting. So think of the Grand Highlander with the plug-in hybrid coming. Now, it won't have the V6 hybrid more than likely, probably a 4-cylinder turbo. I don't even know. Don't even want to speculate on that. It's probably just the RAV4 Prime's plug-in hybrid powertrain that we'll see in the Grand Highlander. But think, the RAV4 Prime will now be officially made in North America. So let your imagination run wild. The Crowns will always be made in Japan. I don't see that ever leaving. So even though we might get some plug-in hybrids of the Crowns, those batteries will not be sourced from North Carolina. There are now 8 more battery lines for the battery electric and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. This is huge. There were only 2 battery lines before. So now we have a total of 10 battery lines, and these production lines will increase over the years. Okay, it's not going to be all in 2025 when this plant goes online, but it should all be up and running. All these 10 lines should be up and running by 2030. So that's pretty exciting. They'll say by 2030, they'll be producing 30 gigawatt hours annually. Let's get the old calculator out here. So 30 gigawatt hours, and let's say we divide that by the average battery size in an EV. Let's say it's 80,000 kilowatt hours. So that's enough capacity for 375,000 battery electric vehicles. However, keep in mind, guys, that is just from the plant in North Carolina. Remember, let's pull this up real quick. Earlier this month, LG Energy Solution and Toyota signed a long-term battery supply agreement to power electric vehicles in the United States. Okay, so that's 20 gigawatt hours of battery capacity. Now, that's not at the North Carolina plant. This will be done in, I think it's, in Michigan at the LG Energy Solutions plant. So 20 gigawatt hours is 250,000 plus a 375,000. So we're talking 625,000 battery electric vehicles that will be in production by the end of the decade, so 2030. But that's just North America. Again, they'll be bringing in vehicles, Lexus models, Toyota models, still from Japan. All right, battery electric, plug-in hybrid. So those will still be coming into North America. This is just local production here, stateside, more than likely for domestic models. Okay, meaning not necessarily models that will be exported. All right, so I think three-row crossovers like the TX, the BZ5X, the Grand Highlander, the Sienna, stuff like that. So that's pretty exciting, guys. Let me know down below what you think of that increased production going on. So I'll put the link down below if you guys want to read it more into that plant in North Carolina. But we're heading over to automotive news. Toyota global sales output climbed to record. Toyota production rose 10% while sales were up 8% between April and September. Toyota Motor Corp's global sales climbed 8.3% April to September from a year earlier to a record 5.6 million vehicles, putting the world's biggest automaker on track for another year of strong gains thanks to robust demand and improving supply conditions. Global production in the fiscal first half rose 10% to a record 5.7 million units, including Daihatsu and Hino. Toyota and Lexus brand cars rose 22% in Africa, the highest among all regions, followed by 17% in the Middle East, as well as 9.4% in North America and 7% in Europe. They're saying there are some slowdowns on parts of Asia, not including Japan. Japan's booming right now for Toyota and a lot of the other Japanese automakers, but there's economic slowdowns going in Thailand and Indonesia, and we know the Japanese automakers aren't doing so hot in China. Toyota sales in China rose less than 1%, which is still a lot better than Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi pulled out. Nissan might have to pull out. Honda and, there's a report going on that Mazda will be finally offering a plug-in hybrid SUV over there. So there's a lot of shuffling going on for the Japanese automakers in China. Toyota's also sold 1.83 million EVs in the 6-month period, but you got to keep in mind, Toyota considered anything with a hybrid and electrified vehicle as well. So hybrids, plug-in hybrids, BEVs, as well as fuel cells are up 38% total from a year earlier. I want to talk about Panasonic since we're talking about battery electric vehicles. Panasonic provides batteries for Toyota, but they provide a heck of a lot more batteries in total for Tesla. Here's the thing. Panasonic logs record profit, but slashes Japan EV battery production. This is 60% production drop thanks to a slower demand and expected sales, especially Tesla. The move comes as the company announced a record net profit of nearly $200 billion for the 6 months through September, helped by a hefty subsidy for its EV battery business in the United States. Now, the company has already stopped some production lines in Japan to reduce battery stockpiles. The 60% reduction is from the first quarter levels and will likely last at least until March next year, according to the company's online presentation. Despite the slowdown, Panasonic said the government funds that it is getting, especially from the United States, will help lift its full-year net profit by 73% to an all-time high of 460 billion yen. All right, and lastly, this news broke when I was actually touring the Afeela vehicle. The Afeela is Sony and Honda's joint venture, Sony Honda Mobility, and that video will be going up soon. But this news came that morning of that tour of that vehicle, and Honda and GM are scrapping the $5 billion plan to co-develop cheaper EVs together. This was supposed to be going around 2027, I believe, for smaller, more affordable battery electric vehicles. All hell broke loose for domestic automakers, Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, essentially, and their unions. 6 weeks they were battling for wage increases. And maybe that's why Honda's like, hey, we can't build cheap EVs if you're paying your employees this much more money. Now, it sucks for Honda employees, it sucks for Toyota employees, and any other employee from any other company that makes vehicles stateside, because other factory workers just got paid and are getting way more money compared to Honda, Toyota. So what is it going to do? Well, Honda, Toyota, etc., who do not have unionized workers, will have to start paying their workers more money too to be competitive. What does this do for the product in the end? Well, It makes cars more expensive. Simple as that. There's no other way around it. If you're paying your employees more, you have to sell your product for more. This decision underscores GM's strategic shift to slow the launch of several EV models to focus on profitability as it grapples with the rising costs of the UAW strikes, which surged to $200 million a week this month. And the U.S. automaker on Tuesday withdrew its previous 2023 profit outlook. Honda had this to say: after conducting some research and analysis, both parties decided to end the development. Each company will continue to work towards offering affordable models to the EV market. So this is, to me, good news. I would rather Honda work with Sony to provide EVs in the future compared to Honda and General Motors. Now, Honda is still working with LG to provide batteries. They have a joint venture battery plant popping up. I think it's in Ohio starting in 2025 or so. So Honda batteries will still be essentially the same as GM batteries. But after this first wave of electric vehicles, so the ZDX from Acura and the Prologue from Honda, I think after that, that might be done. It might be dead in the water for sharing platforms, and Honda's being produced alongside of Chevys or Cadillacs or whatever. So I see it as good news. Honda and General Motors, I'm sure they're probably going to be losing money initially, but I'm sure Honda would rather have that freedom. What benefit does Honda still have from working with General Motors is that Honda's also invested billions of dollars into Super Cruise technology. So Honda will be getting that into their future EVs as well and be able to work with that, maybe in the Afeela model that I just toured. So Honda still wants to sell only electrified models by 2040. That includes fuel cells as well as battery electric vehicles. After studying this for a year, the topic of affordable EVs, essentially, we have decided that this would be difficult as a business. So at the moment, we are ending development of an affordable EV. This is crumbling because EVs being affordable still doesn't look like they're going to be affordable in 3 years from now, 2027, right? So not even $5 billion of investment from these companies would have made that a reality. They still would have been bleeding money, losing money. General Motors just released pricing for its Equinox EV. They said that right in the past it would start around $30,000. The thing is priced starting at like mid to upper 30s, and it goes all the way up to the low 50s. Affordable EVs are nowhere to be found. The Bolt really is, as far as I'm aware, really the only affordable EV in North America. And until other manufacturers can start producing affordable EVs for the masses, it's still just going to be a rich person's toy, I think, for a very long time. Speaking of which, I just reviewed the Genesis G80 electric. I love that car. It is amazing, but it costs $80,000. So I better love it for what it costs. So that's all I got to say for you guys today. Make sure to check out all the coverage of me and David in Japan. Oh my gosh, I just can't say enough. If you guys ever get an opportunity to go to Japan, make it happen. David showed me some of the best restaurants in the world. I had what I think is the best food in the world. I've never had better food in my life. Guys, you got to keep in mind, very lucky and fortunate that I get flown all over the United States to drive new cars, to preview new cars for you guys. And at these events, there's so much amazing Americanized food, and it's like, it's incredible. And so when I go to Japan, I don't have my expectations that high because I know there's going to be a lot of strange stuff I've never eaten before. And there absolutely was. And I don't want to talk too much about that. David has like fear factor videos of me trying new stuff. I survived from pufferfish. But guys, the food there is the best food in the entire world. It's worth and here's the thing. It's not just the Japanese food that's amazing. I just stopped by a random Indian restaurant. And it was maybe the best Indian food I've ever had too. So the standard there, Japanese vehicles, Japanese culture, they try to perfect everything and, be a Takumi at what they do. And that includes the food industry too. So holy smokes. Like I don't, and the hospitality at my hotel, it wasn't what I would call affordable hotel for the area I was staying in. It wasn't super ritzy or anything, but like the experience I had there, the cleanliness, and the room service, like everything was 5-star in Tokyo. my experience. Thanks, David. Automotive Press guys, make sure you're subscribed to David's channel. He's going to he's in Japan for a couple more weeks doing actual work. What I wouldn't call what I did there actual work. I was just getting kind of the tour of Japan, I was on vacation essentially making videos at the same time. So it wasn't work for me, but yeah, David's over there doing real work, doing tours of factories and helping out students of his. But anyways, guys, I got to shut it down there. Thanks for all your support while I was in Japan. Thanks for all your support with me coming back, and exciting times ahead. We have LA Auto Show next month where we're going to get the new Camry, new Crown model, probably the Estate, the wagon. So lots of exciting stuff. I will be giving you guys lots of videos from the LA Auto Show, since I'll actually be attending the show for the press media as a journalist. So anyways, shutting it down. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.